Hi everyone, it's Katrina. Number 10. The fortified city of Carcassonne. One of the most amazing fortifications in all of Europe is the fortified city of Carcassonne. This place has been standing in the misty hills of rural France since the Roman age. The fortress began as a small settlement with high wooden walls. Then, in the medieval days, the settlement grew into a fortified town. Huge defensive walls were built around the central castle, and its streets soon found themselves protected by ramparts and towers. It's one of the most exceptional examples of Gothic architecture in the world, with truly ancient city streets, narrow footpaths, stone bridges, and secret dungeons. Carcassonne is not just a castle, not just a fortification, but a full medieval city perfectly preserved. Some scientists even believe Carcassonne has been inhabited since the Neolithic era around 3500 BC. People may have been living here in crude shacks at the end of the Stone Age. It became an important place of trade for the Romans, who used the high vantage of the hilltop where the city stands to keep an eye on the land surrounding them. After the fall of the Romans, the Visigoths took over and established Carcassonne as a major city in the Visigothic kingdom. In 1659, changes to the way things were being done in Europe caused the city's military significance to be reduced. The fortifications were abandoned, and the city began to function strictly as an economic center. It grew powerful in the textile industry and was home to merchants and workers up until the market collapsed in the 18th century. It was later refurbished in the 19th century, and discoveries at the site are still being made. Have you ever been there? Do you recommend it? Let us all know in the comments below. Number 9. An ancient Egyptian spellbook. In shocking recent news, an ancient Egyptian spellbook has been translated for the first time. The spellbook was made an estimated 1,300 years ago by a group of Christian and Scythian Egyptians. This group recorded a catalog of rituals, spells, and other incantations that could be used to fix a demonic possession. In other words, to perform an exorcism. The book also contained spells and rituals designed to cure ailments, force people to fall in love, and bring great success to any business endeavor. All of these fantastic spells, which would be very useful if they worked, were written down on a huge piece of papyrus using the Coptic language. And now, the spells have been translated. The discovery of the text happened 4 decades ago in 1981. It was uncovered in a collection of ancient papyrus held at the Macquarie University in Sydney. It's not clear where exactly it came from, but wound up stored at the university. It's likely that an explorer in the 19th century brought it back from Egypt, or maybe even purchased it from a market somewhere. Either way, the text is authentic. But as for the spells that have been translated, it's hard to say if they ever truly worked. One of the magic formulas was to recite a spell over a pair of nails, then drive those nails into the doorpost of someone you wanted to control. When that person wakes up the next day, they will suddenly feel the need to do your bidding. Are you brave enough to try any of these spells? Let me know in the comments. Number 8. A strange insignia on Mars. NASA's Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter recently captured a shocking image of something on the red planet. Ever since the orbiter was launched in 2005, it has been sending back all kinds of exciting photographs from Mars. But this newest image has been blowing people's minds. It appears someone may have landed on Mars in the very distant past, and they left behind an unexpected piece of modern pop culture. The high-rise, high-resolution camera picked up what appears to be a natural dune formation on the surface of the planet. The dune is shaped like the Starfleet insignia from the TV show Star Trek. Even if you're not a big fan of the show, you can appreciate the bizarre coincidence. The sand dune and the popular symbol look identical. It looks like somebody stamped the Starfleet symbol onto the Martian surface. And while it's unlikely Captain Kirk got to Mars before any of us, it's still pretty cool. In all likelihood, the strange insignia was made by forces of nature. Ross Beyer from the SETI Institute explained the insignia as scientifically as possible. He says that a very long time ago, there was a sand dune moving across the area. Then there was an eruption and lava flowed over the sand and around the dune, solidifying the dune into a misshapen island. It just so happens the solidified sand looks exactly like something from one of the most famous sci-fi franchises on Earth. Any Star Trek fans out there, what do you think about all this? Let me know in the comments. And now for number 7. But first, it's shoutout time! Big thank you to Nick Singh for supporting this channel. We really appreciate the super thanks. If you are new here, welcome, and be sure to subscribe for more videos like these. Number 7. Menace Mobilization. Scientists have uncovered something amazing using the newest scientific technology in the field of archaeology. Scientists used LiDAR laser technology to reveal a Mayan landscape in the Guatemalan rainforest over 2,000 years old. While you may have heard of this discovery before, since it's been in the news frequently, you may not know all the details. Yes, the discovery did reveal over 1,000 settlements, an entire world of lost Mayan heritage. But it also showed for the first time just how much work was required to keep the Maya civilization afloat. Carlos Morales Aguilar from the University of Texas says this is the first discovery in which we can see the entire landscape of a Mayan region. What this suggests is that the Maya needed mass mobilization of laborers and workers. They also needed specialists and scientists. To have over 1,000 settlements connected by an estimated 100 miles of roadways, a lot of civil engineering needed to happen. There had to be assembly line workers, line producers, quarry specialists, architects, and religious officials. Even legal enforcement agents from the government. This was an extremely complex society. These kinds of building projects don't happen without supervision and skilled workers from every kind of industry. The lost settlements and pyramids are certainly exciting, but one of the most fascinating parts of the discovery is understanding just how much work went into maintaining the Maya Empire. Number 6. Ancient Roman brain cells. Archaeologists discovered the preserved brain cells of one of the victims of the Mount Vesuvius eruption from 79 AD. This was the volcanic eruption that left the Roman city of Pompeii covered in hot ash. What a lot of people don't know is that there was a second city called Herculaneum that also got hit with scorching hot ash. Hundreds of residents were burned alive as they desperately ran from their homes. Archaeologists have discovered the remains of victims who were cooked alive as they tried to escape the explosion. These victims were hit by such an intense wave of heat that their blood boiled and their skulls exploded. One of these victims was a man in his 20s, found still lying in his bed. Researchers think he may have worked as a guard at the nearby college. He was likely asleep when the eruption happened and was cooked in his own bed. Now, scientists have found shards of black matter inside his remains. They believe the pieces of matter are scraps of his brain. When they scanned the scraps using electron microscopy, they identified them as brain cells. The scientific team behind the discovery believes this is now the best example of ancient preserved brain tissue. It's all thanks to the heat. Scorching volcanic ash, followed by a sudden and rapid drop in temperature, caused the man's brain to turn to glass, then shatter like fine crystal. Number 5. A pyramid on the moon. A pyramid structure has just been found on the surface of the moon. Yep, a pyramid on the moon. It appears to be either evidence of a forgotten alien structure or evidence of overexcited human imagination. Evidence of the alien pyramid was found on Google Earth's new and improved moon viewing software. UFO hunter Marcelo Irasuta from Argentina was the one who scoured the surface looking for anomalies. Then he found what unmistakably looks like a pyramid. He uploaded his video online, and now people are calling out NASA for being liars. Hardcore believers are saying NASA has been covering up the existence of alien life and the ruins of lost civilizations on the moon. But what's the truth here? Unfortunately, it's really difficult to say. We can't go to the moon and check to see if the pyramid is artificial or simply a triangular-shaped rock. But there have been some interesting theories about the moon for a very long time. In 1970, Russian scientists Mikhail Vasin and Alexander Sherbakov suggested the moon may itself have been made by alien intelligence. If such a thing were true, it wouldn't be that difficult to believe that somewhere on the moon is an old base or a city, one abandoned by aliens thousands of years ago. Number 4. Neolithic Ax Grinding. Archaeologists recently discovered an ancient Neolithic grinding site used by Neolithic toolmakers to sharpen their knives and stone axes. This site, discovered near Balfron in the UK, was used 4,500 years ago. It's a giant whetstone, just like your whetstone that you use to sharpen your kitchen knives. Only this one is massive and stuck in the ground. A giant piece of sandstone with markings left behind by polished axes. The shocking discovery was made by a group of local archaeologists and volunteers. They identified 33 grooves on the huge piece of sandstone. The grooves were made by axes as they were smoothed or sharpened to perfection. Even more interesting is that the experts believe people may have traveled many miles just to use the local whetstone. It may have had religious significance, or it might have just been a kind of gathering place for hunters to discuss local news. It would have been like the local farmers meeting at a pub, only it was hunters meeting at the axe sharpening site. Number 3. A medieval pantry. In 1495, King Hans of Denmark anchored his ship off the coast of Sweden. While he briefly went on land, his ship caught fire and sank. The ship, named the Griffin, spontaneously combusted and then sank to the floor of the Baltic Sea. It was a pretty big disaster for the king, who was on his way to Kalmar, where he hoped to be elected King of Sweden. This would unite the entire Nordic region under one man. As part of his plan to be accepted as the king, Hans was bringing treats and treasures for those he needed to convince. His ship was filled with the best foods and spices available at the time. All of these gifts that were supposed to persuade Swedish leadership were now under a significant amount of water. They remained underwater for 5 centuries, until archaeologists finally uncovered them. Experts discovered the ruins of the ship deep in the Baltic Sea. Inside the wreckage, divers found the spices and food prepared by King Hans still in the pantry. This was almost definitely the most fully stocked medieval pantry anyone has ever laid eyes on. It contained over 40 different types of fruits, spices, cereals, nuts, and so much more. Brendan Foley from Lund University in Sweden called it a substantially complete royal medieval pantry. Even though King Hans' ship sank, he still became King of Sweden. He was king for less than half a decade, and in 1501 he was kicked out. He would spend the rest of his life until 1513 ruling Denmark and Norway. Number 2. Civil War musket balls. Archaeologists with the UK's HS2 high-speed rail project were digging at an ancient estate in Warwickshire when they made an amazing discovery. The estate is called Coleshill Manor, and it was involved in hostilities during the English Civil War of the 17th century. Researchers found evidence of the ancient armed conflict in the form of musket balls. They found the impact marks of over 200 musket balls, with the balls being concentrated around the heavily fortified gatehouse. The gatehouse, although it took musket fire in the 17th century, was constructed over 700 years ago. It was originally built in the medieval days as a fortified entrance to the manor, keeping out the riffraff. Just under 400 years ago, the estate was likely a royalist stronghold. It was here where some of the fanciest nobles in England hid from the parliamentarians. Researchers think that as the parliamentarian troops marched to confront the armies of the royalists, they attacked Coleshill Manor just for the sake of it. It may have been the first armed conflict of the war, which lasted between 1642 and 1651. As the troops were going by, they unloaded pistols and muskets at whoever was taking shelter in the luxurious estate. However, we don't know if there was any real skirmish or if anyone died. No bodies have been found, and there are no records talking about any fighting at Coleshill Manor. All we know for sure is that the gatehouse and exterior walls took a serious pounding from some very heavy gunfire. Number 1. The mysterious Planet 9. The elusive Planet 9 is supposedly hiding at the outer reaches of our solar system. The planet has never been officially confirmed as real, but according to numerous theories, it exists just beyond the orbit of Neptune. Scientists proposed its existence in 2016 when they published a study in the Astronomical Journal. The planet has been used as a hypothetical explanation for the bizarre orbits of objects around Neptune. Asteroids, comets, and other small celestial objects appear to be rotating around something very unusual that scientists can't physically see. The theory is that there is a planet hidden from our view, something 5 or 10 times larger than our own planet. It also orbits the Sun from around 250 times farther than Earth. If it's not a planet, some scientists have suggested it could be a small black hole. I don't think I need to tell you what the danger of a black hole in our solar system means for the human race. Scientists are fairly confident that we won't be swallowed into a black hole anytime soon, but there could still be a planet out there. A new study suggests Planet 9, which some say could be home to aliens, is shielded from our view by a swarm of tiny moons. Thanks for watching! Which of these amazing discoveries did you find the most fascinating? Tell me your thoughts in the comments, and be sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. See you soon! Bye!